All right. So, so this is a live stream cast, and one of the things that I like to do with my channel is I eventually want to have a setup where I talk to people about the problems that they're going through and try to help them in any way I can. And I actually ended up talking to, this brother here, Country Roy, and he actually had a very unique situation. Now, he has multiple things going on, and I guess what we're going to talk about today is his criminal situation, how he beat a criminal case against the state of Louisiana. But there's also some other things that's going on that we could potentially, talk about later. But go ahead, introduce yourself, Country Roy.
How's everybody? My name is Country Roy. I'm from Grambling, Louisiana. 40 years old. I had a criminal, high-profile case back in 2007. I was arrested, and the charge was dismissed in January 2020.
So,
And
go ahead. I'm
yes,
sorry.
sir.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say I'm glad to be here.
So, I mean, we ended up talking over the phone last night, and I just found a lot of things about your case extremely interesting. Extremely interesting. I was like, hey, we should do a live. Now, the most interesting thing is that, you were able to beat it, but much like the R. Kelly situation, it was a situation whereby they kind of had you on lockdown. You were arrested, but you got bail right away.
I got bail in about 4 or 5 months, but I was on an ankle bracelet where I couldn't leave the city. It wasn't a time monitor. It was just, if I left that city, then I'd be detained.
So how did you get bail? Because one of the things that one of the problems R. Kelly is having is that he can't get bail. So I'm not sure how similar the situation. Well, probably the first questions I would have to ask is for you to give us more detail about the nature of the charge.
Okay. My case, I had um, it was dealing with a juvenile. At the time, she was 14.
Mm,
Um, they had my DNA, which was a piece of skin cell T-shirt,
mm,
and things played out where from the beginning of the story, it was my ex girlfriend niece, and she came
okay.
over. She came over to the house because her mom had to go to work, and they didn't like to leave her at home by herself because she did. We all did things when we were young and teenagers where she had the problems with running away and doing things like that. So it was me, her, ex girlfriend, twins, and her daughter. And
And interesting enough, how old were the twins?
the twins were 10, and her daughter was 12.
Okay.
And she had another daughter too. It was about 17.
Okay.
But she wasn't there at the time. She was at work,
Okay.
and and she couldn't use any electronics or phone or computer. They didn't want to have any access to that because of the fact that she would meet people and leave and be gone, and her mom was worried about her. So when she came over to the crib, and I was in my room, and her and the other kids was in the front room, and you know how you had an alarm system on your door, and I kept hearing the door every time it opened and make the little ringing noise or whatever it makes. I kept hearing it, so I eventually got up, and she was outside. I was like, you're not supposed to be outside, and she was like, I'm gonna do what I want to do. I said, well, just call your mom because I really, probably encountered with her probably 3 or 4 times, and me and her aunt was in a relationship for like a couple years. So I had heard the rundown about her, but I really wasn't too familiar the with everything. So I had her to call her mom and have her mom to come pick her up, and her mom came pick her up, and then about 3 hours later, that's when I had got accused of sexual assault charge.
Uh, so to me, it sounds like what you're saying. The sexual assault was in retaliation of you trying to get her to come in the house at a decent time. I mean, it sounds like, she was going in and out of the house, and basically you were trying to get control of your house, and she rebelled. She rebelled, and she was like, "You can't tell me, no, you ain't my mama or my daddy." And you call the mom, and because of that, you get the sexual assault charge. So she probably, well, I don't know what she told her mom, but to me, it just sounds like, she probably told her mom that, the reason I was trying to go outside is because, he was trying to rape me or something like that. Does that sound like I'm close to what happened or what?
She told her mom and the police that I had checked hand in my room and I had closed the door. I bent over the bed, put her pants and panties down, held her hands down, had unprotected sex with her.
Mm,
So when she told her mom that, which any responsible parent would do, regardless of if your child's mischievous or going through something, you have to take heed and take that serious. So,
right.
she took her daughter to the hospital to get a rape kit.
Uh,
And a rape kit is very exclusive and detailed and to the point. Regardless if you have protected sex or unprotected sex, they can still tell if it's been intercourse, force, or if it was consensual.
mm,
So, it wasn't any signs of any sexual intercourse, no DNA on her skin or around her vaginal and anus area. There wasn't no pubic hair, no sweat, no spit, no saliva, no semen. And it was just a piece of my skin cell that was on her shirt. And a lot of people, I have a nephew that studied anatomy, and he told me, because I had a lawyer and I had a couple lawyers. And a lot of times you have to put the research and time in yourself because you're fighting for yourself.
right. You fighting for your life.
Yeah, they schedule 3 or 4 months to go to court, but they lawyer really not picking your case up probably like a day or two before you got to go.
So, but hold on a second. Let me slow down for just to get understanding. So you get arrested, and
Mm-hmm.
then
I got arrested. I got arrested a year later. They
a
didn't
year
arrest
later.
me. The police never came and questioned me or interrogated me or anything like that. No, I didn't move. I didn't run. I didn't leave state, flee the city.
But
I was.
did you know about the rape charge at the time?
Hmm?
Did you know about the rape charge at the time?
I knew about the accusations. I knew that she had went and did a rape kit because me and my ex girlfriend had talked about it, and I told her it wasn't true. No, I
So
wasn't
so
doing
so so they did the rape kit,
it.
and
Mm-hmm.
then after the rape kit, when did they do the rape kit investigation? Was it like
The same
immediate?
thing. The same, like 3 hours. Like she made the accusation to her mom like 3 hours after she left, and did the rape kit that same within I guess that same hour, or went to the hospital an hour after that, or whatever time frame after that. So it was made. It was done the same day.
So I'm trying to figure out why they were stupid enough to arrest you after doing the rape kit. It
I think
basically,
it's more. You gotta understand. You're in Louisiana. There's still a lot of racism all across the board, and for a district attorney, you know, they don't really. It doesn't really matter to them if they're wrong or right. It's all about convictions.
right,
And
getting those numbers up.
absolutely, and being that most people are not in a financial situation to obtain lawyer and wait it out, they get tired because you fight, you been there. Like I fought mine 3 years. Luckily, I wasn't in jail. I'm pretty sure I would have copped out to a sweet deal because you just sitting in there, and you don't know what's gonna happen, and you just sitting in jail, time going by. Your friends leave, no commissary, no visits, no letter, all that start to dwindle. So then it
Right.
comes more psychological, and that's how they beat you mentally.
Yeah, and you know what? In my personal opinion, and I tell people this all the time, it really just depends on the actual situation. But if I'm in a situation where I get a charge and I'm looking, and I'm just gonna have to tell you, I ain't even finna lie to you. If I'm in a situation where I can get out right away versus rolling the dice and basically losing and then end up doing like 30 or 40 years, I ain't finna lie to you, man. I am not finna lie to you. I'm weak. I ain't finna pretend like I'm strong. I may just
It's
go ahead and take the deal.
it's hard, you know. Like I ain't trying to say I'm just gangster dude or whatever, but you know when you go into a maximum security 23-1, you ain't, you know what I mean. I was in Shreveport, I ain't from there, so you in there with a whole bunch of goons that ain't from there. You know, it's survival of the fittest.
Right.
So you got it's a whole different world. You got to play your cards right. You know, the street code don't apply in jail. It's a whole different situation. And then even when you get time to get out, it take a lot of your privileges. Like even if you get library time, you know, they can put you on lockdown. You know,
Right.
and you don't get no time out. You know, for any reason, it could be another pod that had a fight. They locked the whole facility down, and you're only getting 15, 20 minutes when you go to the library. So, you know, nobody is a lawyer. You know, nobody really does any research. I never did any research in any kind of criminal matter, anything before I got arrested. So when I tried, I was like, I was illiterate because I didn't understand the language. I didn't understand the articles.
And you know what? I'm gonna talk on that note. You know, I actually have some things that I'm going through on my own and myself, and I'm trying to research to figure out, you know, how to get myself out of this little trick bag that I'm in. I'm not going to go into too much details, but the government put me in a little trick bag. So my whole thing is that I do spend time in the law library, but hell, you need a damn education. You need a 2 year course on how to use the damn law library. So I can imagine,
And then the
what
laws change so fast and so frequently. You know, they change laws and people don't even know they change. You know, it's 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 very complex. And then when you in there, everybody's a lawyer. Everybody
right,
become a lawyer, but they're sitting in there. You know, like I said, I was blessed. I only, was in there 4 or 5 months or whatever. There's people in there 5, 6 years waiting to go to trial.
right,
You know, and a lot of them was gonna go to trial because maybe they was, 2 or 3 of repeat offenders, or someone was gonna try. But a lot of people we get psyched out because, like in Louisiana, a lot of my homeboys be like, "Man, you don't want to fuck with them white people, man. They gonna hang you. They gonna do this. They gonna do that." You know, you gotta have that mentality. Especially if you know you're innocent. It's hard. It's hard. To
hold
wait
on,
3 years.
Roy. Hey, Keisha, you have a some background noise. I'm gonna unmute you in a second, but just letting you know you have background noise. Go ahead, Roy. My bad.
And it just hurts you. And I'm glad I had a strong family to support me financially because when I was out, I had to pay bond. I had a $20,000 bond. I had to pay for the bracelet. I never been in any probation, anything like that. So you have an anchor monitor. They make you pay for it. So that's another $300 a month.
So
You know,
they making money off of you while you locked up, and that's another thing I don't like about the prison system. I was locked up on some silly shit, and I had I think you still have a open mic. I'm going to mute you again, but you can self mute too. I was locked up on some silly shit, and that was one thing I noticed about the prison system is that it's all about money. They're gonna hit you for whatever they can when they can, and the state that I live in, I heard, I'm not sure if this is true. Not the state, the actual county, Cook County Correction Facilities is like one of the most profitable lockups in the United States. So it's profitable because they're getting money for the federal government. So the first thing they want to do is provide you services as soon as you get up in that motherfucker. So you sick, you got a headache. Oh, well, we're gonna send you to an infirmary. You need some medication. Oh, we finna give you some medication. And more than likely, I'm not looking at their books, but more than likely, they charging you above and beyond what Walgreens is going to charge you for their prescription. So it's a money game. So anything they give you, they're going to offer you anything they can because that's going to equal a paycheck.
I'm gonna tell you something that's crazy on that topic that you're talking about. When I was incarcerated, I had a cavity, so I had to get a tooth pulled. And in the streets, it's $99 or better to get a tooth pulled. In jail, $10 on your commissary. You don't get it when you get your money in your book, they take it off of you. So
Right.
just look at the gap of how they can charge $10 for inmates, but people that's out here working honestly and got to provide. It's harder for them, even if you got a family, because you got to think about your deductibles, your premiums, whatever you got going on is higher. So that's backwards to me, you know. So a lot of
Well,
things.
this is what I believe is happening. You're paying $10, but the federal government is paying way more than $10. Again,
Mhm,
it's based on services.
mhm,
So because
mhm.
they provided you that services for $10, they can then go to the federal government and say, "Hey, we need money to basically maintain this prison system." So a lot of systems are basically backed by some type of federal
The
program.
state and the federal, yeah. That's why the conviction rates are so high because it funds the state and the federal. That's money, that's income. It pay for it pay for people payroll. So you understand. You're paying court fees and all that other shit. That shit, that's paying for people's jobs. So if a lot of people, if the state lose a lot, a lot of people gonna start losing their jobs because they ain't making no money. You
Oh, you
know.
ain't got
So,
you ain't got it. Well, we got to see what's going to happen with all this reform, because right now you got a lot of people locked up on some bullshit, marijuana convictions. So that's the marijuana reform is basically going to kill. It's going to hurt the state. I'm not going to say it's going to kill it, but they're going to have to make that money up somehow, because you got a lot of people that were basically locked up over marijuana. So that's going to be a loss of income. So like you said, a lot of jobs are probably going to be lost. But Keisha had a
Yeah.
question for you.
So, country, was you found? Are you not guilty, and you just took a plea deal? Is that what happened there?
no, I didn't take no plea deal. The state dismissed the charges.
For real? Why the rape kit came back? Not it didn't have.
The rape kit had been came back. Like, when they do a rape kit, it don't take long for it to come back. You looking 2-3 weeks. It wasn't no evidence. It was just that when they say they have evidence, like my lawyer explained to me, it's different layers of evidence, like building a house. Was me and her in the same facility together? That's like the concrete of the house. Yes. She made these accusations against me. Is that true? Yes. So when they build stuff, they be circumstantial and they try to build a case. That's why they interrogate you and try to get you to say that you did something. Because if you committed and if you guilty of a crime and you did a rape kit, they're not gonna interrogate you. They're gonna lock you up, and go from there.
I'm
But it wasn't.
covering 2 rape cases right now that I'm still waiting on the outcomes of. Because of the COVID-19, it kind of put both of them back. One is reaching a year; he's been in jail, and then the other one has been in jail for about a year and a half. In the first, that year and a half, it came back and it didn't even have his DNA in it or anything, and he's still sitting in jail, locked up, and he has not been proven guilty yet at all.
It doesn't matter if you're innocent or guilty. It's about money and them moving up to the next level. They got a job. In order to get promotion, you got to have production. It's just like a car salesman. You live on commission. So in order to get to the next level, you either got to sell more cars. You got to be the best of what you do. Because a lot of people coming in and out. So if your numbers ain't right, you lose an election. So it's a corrupt system. Even on my rape kit, the physician didn't even leave any notes behind.
Right.
No comments or anything. So I'm sitting there, I'm scared. I ain't gonna lie to you, I'm scared because I've never been in no shit like this before. And I'm like, damn, I got a lot of homeboys telling me like, shit, don't fuck with them white people, they gonna hang your ass. I mean, that is how it is in Louisiana. Shit. It don't take nothing but a phone call or somebody to say something. You going to jail if you're black.
My old man come home next Saturday. He's been in there for 5 years. His biggest charge was a gun charge, and they really illegally searched him. Technically, he wasn't supposed to be searched. It was a car full of people. They was in a parking lot. They was profiled. It's a shame because, your lawyers the whole time tell you should take this plea deal, because if you don't take this plea deal, you take it to trial, you're going to lose, when technically you can win. But they scare you, and they use that as a scare tactic, because at the end of the day, the lawyers work with the prosecution. Everybody's in it, like you said, for political reasons, for a number of reasons, to show that this prosecutor will stick with this lawyer as long as this lawyer keep on giving them wins. And that's how it is. Even in my case, I got busted for selling weed. Like, my lawyer was a dick. Had he had been for me, I would have got less time, probably no time, because it was an illegal, the way I was set up was illegal.
Illegal search and seizure. You're trying to say?
Right. She didn't have. She did a deal with the local police officers to keep her from getting locked up for child support. How does that work?
You know what? Hold on a second. I'm gonna stop you right here because Roy said something really similar to your situation. This is crazy. It's almost like you two are saying the exact same thing because Roy basically explained something similar in his case. How you go ahead.
It's like right now, even though I got court papers saying my charges was dismissed from the clerk of court, and I do a background check for a job.
That's it. It's a wrap.
That's crazy.
I'm a felon. I can't bear arms ever. Somebody say you need to go get a gun. I can't. How about that?
I'm not even a felon. I have maybe a misdemeanor on my attempted possession of marijuana back in 2009. You know, that's a misdemeanor. It ain't shit.
Right.
But like I just applied for Indian casino. I worked in a casino all my life, 15 years in table games, in the poker room. So I moved to Oregon because one of my friends is a big manager up here. So yesterday I wanted a fresh start. So I came up here to Oregon. I've been here about 4 months. So I got the job, got hired, did my drug test, won everything. Went and did my license with the state police, fingerprinted me, background check. They came back a couple of days like, we're going to deny you. Just because you got arrested of a felony within 10 years. Not that I was innocent, didn't get convicted, but just because I was arrested. So now it's just like, how do you make that wrong right? How do you justify that? Because people get arrested every day. That don't mean that they're innocent of anything or guilty of anything, So, if you got it in black and white with that seal on it, just like the seal you have on your birth certificate, you have to honor it like that, and you don't. And it's just another way. I think that people can be oppressed,
This whole police reform thing is definitely needed by far. What you think? What y'all think?
Well, you know what? I think it's needed, but it's really a question of how far they're going to go. My personal opinion is they need to kind of rip out the entire system, start all over with a fresh, with fresh laws. Well, first start off with a fresh mindset or ideology, right? Where you're actually protecting and serving the people. I've heard some conspiracy theories that, the police aren't actually there to protect the people. They're actually there to protect and serve the corporations, right? So I've heard theories like that. I'm not sure how they're true. So I think if it's to work, it needs to be totally gutted, a fresh ideology, fresh laws, and fresh people, especially fresh people, because you dealing with a lot of people who just don't give a fuck about the community that they're serving. They don't care. Right. So you're never going to get, protection. You're never going to get any type of service. I think I was telling you guys how one time I was actually arrested over something silly, and the officers knew that they were arresting me for something silly, and they knew what they were doing was wrong. They just didn't care. They just didn't care. Like Roy said, it's a numbers game. And basically they're just trying to get as many arrests as they possibly can in order to, get their numbers up. That's all it is.
This is how they secure convictions to make sure their conviction rates stay up. You can get stopped for some, they'll pile 2 or 3 other charges on it, so some gonna stick. The more shit you come throw at the wall, the more it's gonna stick on it. You know what I'm saying? So it's the way it is. That's how they get you into taking a plea deal. Well, you got these 3 charges, you take it down, we do it to a lesser this, and you be good. So now you like, you got to try to have your poker face on. Like, is he bluffing or do I go all in?
Right. So let's get back to your story, Roy. So you got the rape kit, right? Then a year later, they come and arrest you.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens after arrest? So you get into lockup. You're locked up. What happens at that point?
So before I got locked up, when they came, I was on my way going fishing, and I came from an ex-girl. crib. I was about to go fishing or whatever, and they stopped us and picked me up and they asked me if I want to be questioned. So the time I knew I wasn't gonna be questioned, so I said I'm intoxicated. I've been smoking and drinking, so I know they can't talk to me. And so they take me to get booked, process or whatever. You know, I stay in the bullpen, and when I say the bullpen, it's like a concrete slab cell with a bench on it and a toilet, and you got 10 other jokers in there for like 2-3 days. You're just sitting there waiting to get processed to be transferred, you know. So sitting there, you know, all you eat is bologna sandwiches, little Debbie cakes and shit like that, you know. And they give you this stuff that we call it Peter water. You know, it's something they put in the water, so it messes with your hormones, so you won't get no like erection and stuff like that. So it's,
yeah, you know, hold on a second.
they give shit to fuck your body up anyway in there. You know, I knew guys that had, you know, fucking from laying on that on the bunks, they had to go to the medical because they had fucking growth coming from their balls, like from just laying in there on that metal for so long. You know, and they had to have surgery, and you know, it's psychological, man. You know, you don't get up on time, you ain't suited, 5 o'clock in the morning, bed ain't made, you go to lockdown. You in there for shit half the day. You ain't coming out. It's 5-6 people in there with you or more. You know, you don't got no cover. You on steel. You gotta use tissue for a pillow. It's just survival finish. You playing spades, commissary if you ain't got it. You don't get no visitation, you don't get no letters. It's hard, man. Then, you know, I had custody of my kids at the time, and I lost all that. So when I was going to criminal court, I was going to family court. You know, still trying to work, provide, get a job, you know. And, you know, I didn't choose to take the easy route to sell drugs. I did that shit before when I was young. So I knew I wasn't in a position. They wanted me to slip up. They wanted me to have any kind of infraction with the police officer just to try to make a case, you know. And that's what you got to be cautious of, you know. And even when I did get a job, my ankle monitor, that motherfucker barely worked. It'll malfunction. Like I had to be charged up to the wall while I'm working, you know, at the same time, because if it go dead or anything like that, they come pick you up and put you in jail until they talk to the DA, and the DA tell you what, you know. And I'm gonna tell you another experience. I had got a job for ADT, and it's funny as shit. And I'm working. And I'm close to the boundary line where I couldn't go past city limits. So I'm in a custom house and I'm trying to sell them home security. Fucking police, about 7-8 of them just pull up in the house, put me in handcuffs, throw me in the. They called me and say too close to the thing, and it was embarrassing. I got fired, you know, and they was like, well, you know, until you get your situation cleared up, we can't let you work for us. You know, and at the time, you know, you got kids, and my kids. In their eyes, I'm their superhero because I always been there for them. I do everything for them. I show them so much love. So when all this is hitting them because of spite from your kid's mother, and she wants you to lose, and you do bad, you know, it's hard, man, and it was stressful. It was stressful.
So getting back to your case, did the police or the state prosecutor ever actually interrogate you?
They interrogated me one time.
How did that go?
And that was before they had locked me up. Like after the accusation was made, probably like 6-7 months after they came and questioned me, you know, and I talked to them, you know, and everything like that, and they let me go home. They took me back home because they came and got me from the house. They came surrounding my house. It was like 15-20 deep. You know what I'm saying?
So let me
so I'm like, damn, I ain't want to open the door. I'm like, what the fuck going on? You know, so I go to the door. So, you know, it's me and my daughters there and one of my homeboy, you know, and they say, can we talk to you, whatever the case may be? And I was like, I don't really want to. I said, well, you gotta go with us. Call somebody to come watch your kids while you go talk to her. So it was like I was forced at that point. It wasn't that they lawfully had the right to take me because they didn't come with no warrant. They didn't come with nothing like that. And when I got there, they was like, well, asked me what happened. I explained, we talked. Then they said, well, he left the room. The detective left the room, came back and like, well, we got a warrant for your DNA. So I'm like, I'm not giving you my DNA. I'm like, if you had a warrant for my DNA, why you didn't bring it to my house when you came?
Right.
You understand? So he came with that, and I refused. So they put me in handcuffs. Motherfucking cop choked me and shit, swallowed my mouth. Then like 3-4 months later, came and arrested me. You know, and this lawyer, you know, trying to
right off the top though, and I don't have any information on this, but I would wonder if that DNA swab would play in court. I don't know the laws in Louisiana. I don't know how it works, but they ask for the DNA and you refuse. They ask for a reason, right? To me, it seems like they asked because they needed your consent. You didn't give it. So then they decide they just gonna take it. So I would wonder if that would play. But anyway, so go ahead.
I tried to challenge the warrant when I first had my first lawyer. You know, my first lawyer was a black lady. You know, I was trying to be proactive or whatever. You know, hire a black lady. You know, in the case I'm thinking she gonna fight for me. She gonna look at me like a brother. Shit, motherfucker, look at me like no goddamn brother. You know. So
and you know what? This is what I was trying to talk about when I was saying it was similar to Keisha's story, because you were saying that she tried to make a deal with them.
Yeah, she tried to make a slick side deal with the DA, and I wasn't a part of the discussion. What happened was the DA had sent her a deal for me, emailed her a proposition deal for me of carnage of a juvenile. My lawyer sent it to me.
I'm sorry, what was it called?
Carnage of a juvenile.
Okay.
So, you know, right then, you know, I don't mean to get off the topic, but think about it, you going for second-degree rape. If y'all know what second-degree rape is, that's forcible rape. That's it, that you forcibly took someone, you know, without their permission. So you offer me a deal from going to saying I'm this monster to carnage of a juvenile, saying that it was consensual. And so now you got two conflicting stories from the state want me to say that it was consensual when the girl told y'all and said that I absolutely violated her in the worst way. I'm like, no. So my lawyer, to get back on the topic, had sent me the email from the DA, but she sent me her reply. And she was like, I think it's a good deal. Let me get with my client. So when she sent me that and she called me, I'm like, hold on. I'm like, how you gonna tell them what's a good deal? You ain't even talk to me. You know, so like a month later, I fired her and retained her. I waited till I retained another lawyer first, then I fired her like a month later. And then the crazy shit about it, she ended up making a paper with her second DUI and third possession of marijuana. So I felt like she was trying to sell me out to save herself and her bar license. You know what I'm saying? So it was one hand wash the other hand type shit with her and the state. And another thing in Shreveport court, you got the district. If you can't afford your own personal lawyer, you know, you got to get I call them public pretenders. They're in the same office as the district attorney. So how are they really fighting for you and they're in the same fucking office? It's like, you know, they working together.
I had a public defender work for my old man harder than the attorney did. The public defender was trying to make a name for himself.
Make a name for himself. Yeah, you got something like that.
So he was really fighting and doing everything he could for free for him. So it was like wonderful. Then somebody cut in the cut and was like, I got this lawyer for you, blah, blah, blah. My old man was like, all right, my aunt is suggesting I go with this lawyer. He took that lawyer threw him the fuck under the bus. I ended up searching for that public defender that was no longer with our county. That public defender had ended up going with a whole different county, Philadelphia, which is a main city down here. And then he ended up having his own, you know, law firm and everything like that. And you read up the notes on him. A lot of prosecutors don't like him because the way he maneuvered as a public defender in the court, in their own court system, he was working against them. They don't like that. They can't wait to fire you, get rid of you, and throw you out. So we lucked up. Once in a while, you'll luck up. Other than that, they all just stable 9-to-5 motherfuckers who don't care what happens to you because they still getting paid regardless.
They prolonged me, like I said, for 3 years and just reset. Deal. Remember, I got this deal on reset. Take this deal right here.
That's
And
sad.
at the time, you know, I had one homeboy that I was talking to.
So they offered you cardinal knowledge of a juvenile, which is, and I actually looked the
Hold
law
on,
up.
hold on. They offered it to me, and when I declined it, they changed the bill to quarter knowledge of a juvenile. When I say they changed the bill, I mean they changed the charge from second degree to quarter knowledge of a juvenile.
Okay.
So now when you put on my documents, they don't say second degree, they say quarter knowledge of a juvenile because they changed the bill. You understand? So it was like, it's crazy.
Now, how old was you and how was the chick? What was the difference?
I was 30. I was 36 and she had to be like 14, 15.
Okay. All right. Got you. Damn. That's wild. But they will stick it to you if they can. That's what they're in there for, to stick it to you.
So yeah, you know, I agree. A lot of times those attorneys are connected, and you really can't find justice unless you're lucky enough to get someone who doesn't care about the good old boy system. But that's, to be honest with you, it's kind of difficult because you'd have to find someone who doesn't essentially care about his career. You know, because at some point you're gonna go before a judge who's connected, or you're going to go against someone who's connected in some type of way. And I think that's what I think Trent mentioned on the channel when he was like, I think we was on Passionate Gangsters channel, and he was like, well, they need to get rid of you know, the R. Kelly attorney that's in New York. And you know, what he said made a lot of sense, that, you know, you need to find somebody that's connected to the judge. What's her name? Ann Connolly or something like that. You need to, you know, get someone that's within that, you know, good old boy network, you know, in lack of a better word. So I can kind of see how all this plays out. Not only do you have to get a lawyer to represent you, but you also have to get the right lawyer.
That's plugged in.
This plug. There you go. That's the word I'm looking for. If your lawyer, you might have a good lawyer, but if they're not plugged in, then that's going to hurt your case.
Right.
See, the court system ain't nothing but a show. It ain't nothing but a reality show.
Yep.
And it's all about perception and selling. Just like R. Kelly's situation, just like my situation, they publicly put this out. They're gonna sell it. They're selling it. Think about it. When I was locked up, I never was able to get a haircut from a trustee. Like, never. I had people that was in there that you know, I give them a honey fund. They try to tighten me up a little bit before I go to court. So when you go to court and you got your hair all woolly, your face all matted, and they saying they're reading your charges. Everybody that's in the back that just coming to court that's been there for their people, or they don't know you. They looking at you like, yeah, he looked like he would do something like that. So you know
that part.
Like, it's all about, you know, how you look, and the prosecutor is selling their story more because they run the courtroom. The DA run the courtroom.
Yep.
The judge don't run it.
Yep.
The judge, she has probably 10% ruling on what goes on in the courtroom.
It was about to throw the book out, man. I had to step up in front. Fuck his lawyer. I had to step up and was like, "What are y'all talking about? Are you woke? Do you hear what they saying?" And they looked at me like I was crazy. I'm like, I'm his fiance. That's his lawyer over there. I don't understand why he's not interjecting and saying something right now. And he like kind of woke up like, "Oh yeah, yeah, we're not going to take that." The fuck? We're getting paid thousands. Like, his family is paying you, and this is what you want to do? Like, oh my God! And eventually, my man fired him. Like, he had to. He didn't give two fucks about him at all. He just sat there and was looking in his phone, texting away, doing whatever the fuck he doing. Like, the fuck? Have you lost your mind?
So I got a theory on this. So I did a video a couple of days ago, and I was talking about how you can't really get justice. Well, I talked about how lawyers try to milk you and how money basically determines on the amount of justice you get. And one of the things I actually believe is that what lawyers try to do is that they try to milk you for as much as they can. Now, let me say this first. I'm not saying all lawyers are bad. I'm not going to say that because that's not true. That's like saying all black people are bad, and it's like saying all white people are racist. And we all know none of that is true, right? But what I notice that some lawyers try to do is that they try to hit you for as much money as they can up front, and then once that money runs out, then they cut you loose, right? So
Yeah.
they already decided they ain't finna do no work on your case.
They already know what kind of case they got before when they get before you sign your retainer and they look at everything. That lawyer already know what he can do.
Right.
He just gonna play it out till you get that money. You know what I'm saying? To the end of that money come, you finish paying that retainer. But that's that. Since you said that, and I think about it, when my case was dismissed and I owe my lawyer $600 more before when my case was dismissed.
Right.
My bond, I had paid my $20,000 bond up.
Right.
You know, they had took the bracelet off after a year and a half, so I had paid $300 a month for a year and a half.
Damn.
And all that money I spent out. My first lawyer retainer fee was $7,000. You know,
So,
and it was like
so the first lawyer you gave her $7,000 retainer?
$7,000 flat out. That was everything for retainer, everything for her.
And
my second lawyer was $20,000.
Damn.
God. They tried to hit him with a $20,000 joint. I'm like, fuck you next.
So I had a little money saved up, and my dad helped me out, and I had some life insurance policies I went in cashed in on. I took everything I had, and I lost a lot. I still can't shake back from it. It's like it's still there. It's like a scar that never fucking healed.
Well, I think in our conversation last night, I mentioned this to you. I think you need to get that record expunged. I'm not sure what it takes to, get it expunged, but I think for your state, right? In Illinois, they actually have free legal aids that would expunge it for you. Like in Illinois, you would go downtown to the court building and you would see a free legal aid lawyer, and then they write out your petition to have it expunged like right away. And there's a process. It takes time, but I'm not sure how it works in Louisiana. But it may be free, but that's definitely something you want to look into.
I did a little research on it, and I got the process rolling. Like I said, I'm in Oregon, Louisiana. They have it where, because my case was dismissed and there wasn't no any stipulations or anything like that, the DA can waive the fee of $600. If not, it's a $600 fee. So, I'm going to put the application in and ask for a waiver fee to see if they're going to waive it. I'm claiming that they're going to do it, and I can move on. But it's still going to hunt me because of the profession that I'm in, the extent of the background check that they do. It's like FBI and state police, so when they
you're saying even after it's expunged, it's still going to be there. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, because they ask you on the application. Ask you.
So you're saying you truthfully have
like that.
If you ever, I know in PA they started to stop asking that on job applications. If you've been a convicted felon,
the application I put in for the Indian Reserve here in Oregon. Like the Indian Reserve laws is different and commission different from state other state casino is regulated. So
let's not talk about the Indian Reserve, because I think that's a good topic to talk about another time. And the reason I say this is because I don't want to go off on a tangent, but that's actually how you reached out to me, and I thought it was pretty interesting. And you're really dealing with another country, believe it or not. You're dealing with a sovereign nation, right? Mm-hmm. So even though they have laws that interact with the state police, it's a sovereign nation, right? Mm-hmm. Which I find interesting, because there's been a lot of talk about sovereignty and all these other things. And I love to have a conversation about sovereignty and so on and so forth, but I don't think it fits right. Even though that's how you came to me, I don't think it fits in the context of the conversation. But I just want to put out there that, if anybody's watching this, they want to, come on the channel to talk about, some of the legal issues that they're facing or some of the things they're going through. If you have any crazy legal stories out here The world wants to hear it. Definitely leave your questions, comments below, and I'll reach out to you to set something up. But getting back to your story, Roy, so you get to the point where you're locked up and they offer the plea deal. What happens next? What happens after you get that information, or you find out that your first lawyer tried to sell you out? What happens after that?
And, I started playing chess mentally. I can't trust it. You know, I had to make calculated steps now. I'm gonna save my money, get some money up to get another lawyer, do referral. I was reaching out to other lawyers that people told me they were good, doing research about them, you know, and seeing what their retainer fee was, and I picked one, and I went with that one, you know.
Let me stop you right there. So, how did you do research on other lawyers? Because, like, one of the things I spoke about in that last video I did, it's hard to really find an attorney. And in Illinois, you can actually represent yourself and basically have your lawyer on backup. Now, I'm saying this because I wouldn't expect you to represent yourself. But in Illinois, and I suspect all over the country, when you hire a lawyer, you're giving them the rights to basically handle your entire case, which in my mind, it can be a bad thing because you have no control over what's going on. So in some situations, you may want to actually hire a lawyer under a Supreme Court rule which allows you to unbundle or break up the services. So I guess what I'm trying to say, the difference would be you hiring, and I'm going to make an analogy. Suppose you hire a guy to basically build or repair your back porch, right? And you tell that person exactly what you want done. You say, I want this beam replaced right here, and then I want, this surface right here replaced. And that's it. That's all I want done. You can do that because you're in control over your business. You're in control over that project. Well, in my opinion, it should be the same thing. And a lot of people don't understand it's not the same thing. When you hire a lawyer, you're not basically giving them tasks. You're not giving them assignments. You're not in control over the case. In my opinion, you're giving up control over the case and you're giving it to this person to handle. Now, that could be good in some situations where you don't really want to be bothered because you have a lot of other things going on in your life and you need to focus on those other things. But sometimes it's detrimental because you need to be in complete control as to what's going on in your case. And you may not want a lawyer to do certain things because they can run up the legal bill. You can say, dude, I didn't tell you to do that shit. All I told you to do was just research, some case law and review such a document. So when you start thinking on that level, I notice that most lawyers don't want to deal with you. They don't want to deal with you because they know they can't charge whatever they want to charge. They know they can't milk you because you're in control. So I only wanted to bring that up. You may not have been thinking about that when you were researching a lawyer, but it's still a good time to kind of put that out there in people's mind that you can be in control of your own case. It may not be a good idea because you don't know that much about the law, but on the other hand, it's a good idea if you're trying to control your case and you're trying to control the cost of your case, right? But anyway, going back to your story, how did you guys research different lawyers, or is this just something that your friends did on your behalf?
Well, I know this guy that my friend, his name James Silvers. He owned tax place. He did tax service. So I reached out to him because I knew he had, got in some trouble before, and he did some time, and I asked him, I said, man, you know any good lawyers? And he was like, yeah, my brother-in-law, he a lawyer. They call him he a white guy, call him Johnny Ronald Cochran. So when I couldn't meet with him because I couldn't leave the city because he wasn't in the same city. He was like an hour and a half away from me, so my dad had to do a lot of leg work for me. And sat down and talked. We had a conference call. And he told me, you know, $20,000. I beat this case hands down. This, you know, it's selling points. And you know, and I had most of my discovery and stuff like that from my first lawyer. Turned it over to him, and he got some stuff. No, it was just prolonged, and a lot of times, you know, I had to do research, and I had friends that tell me, "Hey, man, you know, after 2 years, 2.5 years, ask for a speedy trial." You know, and
is that what you did?
Yeah, that's when I told my lawyer that I wanted to request for a speedy trial, and he didn't want to do it. He was like, "Well, let's just wait." He just wanted, you know, oh, let's not take the gloves off yet, this and that, you know. So, you know, it got to the point where, you know, I said, okay, wait a little bit longer.
So let me. What is it that you think he did that the other? I mean, besides the obvious of selling you out, but well, let me ask another question. What is it that he did that you think made a difference, or do you think he didn't really do anything special? You just had a solid lawyer, and it was just based on the fact that the government didn't have a case. What was it about him coming on that helped you get out of this situation, if any?
You know, I ain't gonna say he a bad lawyer. He didn't really do nothing. It wasn't really no arguments or nothing. You know, it's hearing argument. When you go there, they already know they're gonna reset your court date.
Right.
You know, your lawyer already know basically what's gonna happen before you go to court. You know, like I was aware of the deals before I went to court. You know, it's just that you go to court, the DA will try to sell it. Oh, we made a deal, and he don't want to take. And see, they try to sell and manipulate the court as if, you know, they trying, you know, to buy themselves time.
Right.
Because they didn't case, you know, they wanted me to take a plea. You know, they knew it was hurt.
What I learned is they usually reset because they want more money. And that's the lawyer doing it. The lawyer is actually pushing it. Each time you talk to your lawyer, like, you know, you got payment. And that's what they want. They want more money out of us at the end of the day.
I'm going to tell you a part of it. It was like, I think the scariest part of it for me was when it got close to the end. And, you know, they have so much time, they have to set a trial date. So they be like, well, we're going to pick a jury. I know I'm innocent, but you got to think about, like, damn, are they going to believe this other motherfucker and I'm going to get damn with 20 years, 10 years, you know? So the first time we were going to have to pick a jury for trial, but it was like 2.5, almost close to 3 years, they rescheduled.
Damn.
Then they said the next time they rescheduled again. Then the next time they were like, the state can't move forward no more. We dismiss all charges. The judge hit the gavel and say, you're a free man.
Because they ain't have shit on you. They did all that to milk you. Ooh.
Basically. Well, they're hoping he's going to take a deal. They're hoping he's going to take a deal.
That's your lawyer.
I'm going to tell you what's fucked up about it, because that part where I had my career in Shreveport, my name is tarnished. You know, my image is tarnished because they put my name in the papers, Facebook, all of that, bro. All my friends, all the ones that I lost a lot, man, especially my kids. You know, man.
It's sad because so many men get done like that. And the whole time up until trial, they actually tell them, there's a good chance that you're not going to win this in trial. There's a good chance that this might not make it. You should take a plea. You should do this. You should do that. And it's your lawyer that you think is on your side that's actually in control of all of this. He knows it's not going to make it to trial. He knows there's not enough evidence to make it to trial. But this happens to so many black men. It's sickening. It happens to a lot of people, and it's sickening. And it's like, are you kidding me? But this is why, you know, police reform, I think, needs to happen most definitely.
Well, I don't know if police reform is going to change that. Because like
once you do that, then we can get into the judicial system.
Right.
You can start to reform that. First things first, we gotta start with how people are getting pulled into the judicial system, into the system. first. And the problem is these motherfuckers out here locking people up for no reason at all. At all. They just is mad and had a bad day and couldn't get no ass in the morning. They come to work and they want to take it out on somebody. And guess what? You guys sit in jail for a whole year.
Right.
To make it to a court.
Or a year if you lucky.
Yo, yeah, like that shit is wild. I think my case went on for like a year and a half, and I appear to be white. But once you start to talk to me and you realize, like, I'm not one of those little dum-dums, like, trying to get me, can you cooperate with us? Are you lost your mind? You lost your mind? What the fuck I look like cooperating with you? Like, somebody done cooperate with you.
To lock me up. You know, you have to cooperate so you can lock me up.
And when they came up in my crib, they ain't do that now. They had the big John and busted my door and came upstairs, had my son in cuffs, woke me up out of my bed, like just ransacked my whole entire crib, everything all over the place, like, yo. Because a bitch don't want to pay some white bitch don't want to pay child support.
Wow.
Really? Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
So she made a deal to basically sell you out.
Yes.
And you know what? Reasons like this is why I advocate trying to hold on control over your case. So I was actually reading something in Black's Law Dictionary, and it basically says that you have a right to self-represent yourself. And again, you don't necessarily want to self-represent yourself because you don't have the experience, right? And even if you go and read all the books in the world, it's not going to give you the experience of being a trial lawyer, for example, or as an analogy, you can read up on how to play basketball, but that don't mean you finna get out on the court and basically perform. You know, so you don't necessarily want to do that, but you do want to be in control. You do want to be able to stop crazy shit when you see it happening. So that's why I kind of, advocate self-representation, but it's probably going to be dangerous if you don't have the energy to basically keep up with everything. Because I keep hearing stories about how people are being sold out, by their own lawyers. And one of the things I noticed, like I was saying earlier, that they have a system, like Country Roy said, they already know what they finna do.
Yeah.
The only thing they trying to do is get that retainer.
That's it.
That's what probation is designed for, you to go back to jail. They feel like you're gonna violate, so you can get right back incarcerated. Yep. Then they're gonna set you another deal, give you more time on probation, or send you down the river or something like that. You're a cash cow when you locked up.
Oh yeah, legally
for sure. You're legally a slave, so you're working for free, working for nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like that little money, you work, even if you don't work release, you make $300 a week, you probably get $75. You know what I'm saying? The rest of it going
slavery at its finest. And you know how many people sitting in jail right now, and they really technically is innocent, but they took a plea deal because if they were told by their lawyers, if you take this to trial, you could face this amount. You could face 20 years. If you take this plea deal for 5 to 10, you'll make out better. Right. But I ain't do it. I know you ain't doing it.
So they tried to offer you a plea deal, Keisha?
I did plead. Yes, I did plead. I was scared. They told me 3 years in prison, and I ain't never have a charge a day in my life.
So how many years did you get?
I got 5 years on probation.
Okay.
I got 5 years on probation. They tried to get me. They tried to get me to take a plea deal to put me in jail for a year.
Okay.
I'm not going to jail. I'm not going for 3.5 ounces of weed. Fuck out of here. You got me fucked up.
They already knew you never been to jail and stuff like that. So they knew it.
Yeah, and then they had the nerve to, you know what? I was heated. Like I told her, you put me in jail. That chick is in and out of jail constantly. I'm gonna run into her and I'm gonna snap her neck. I'm gonna stay in jail for life. I'm gonna stay in jail for life. Y'all put me in jail for 3 years. I'm gonna just stay in there for life because I know I'm gonna see her bum ass in there. So he was like, calm down, don't say that. We in like a restaurant across from the courthouse. I'm like, no, like I'm real damn, I'm like straight up about this because once you put me in the jail, that's it. I lose my job. I've been there for 17 years. I lose this, I lose that. I got a son out here. Like, get the fuck, like I lose my apartment, I lose my car. Like, what the fuck is going on? All this because some bum bitch don't want to pay for some kids that she need to pay for.
Right.
I'm out here struggling to take care of mine. Fuck out of here. Y'all got me all the way fucked up. No.
Yeah.
Hey,
No.
let me put this on your brain. You know how they say, for instance, R. Kelly manipulated all them girls, right? But the justice system can manipulate you in court to make you feel like you finna give your life away if you don't take right here. So it's a double-edged sword. You get cut regardless. You know what I'm saying? Like how intense is the manipulation? Everybody been manipulation. Everybody use some form of manipulation, but how intense is it, or what degree of manipulation are you using? Because you have to sell yourself. Even at a job, you have to be something that you're not. You put on a whole different person. Right. You're performing. So, manipulation is just human nature.
Right.
So the closest. Okay, so so there are ways to deal with stuff like that in court, and I can only speak from a civil perspective because that's where I've done most of my reading. It's probably going to be a little different in a criminal perspective, but in a civil perspective, where somebody forces you into a deal, you can later challenge that deal under several different doctrines. One of the doctrines is probably going to be called unconscionable bargain, which basically means, instead of saying unconscionable, I'll say a unfair bargain or unfair deal or unthinkable. That's what unconscionable means. Something just unthinkable. So unconscionable bargain would be Roy coming to work for me for 30 years and receiving $2 an hour and giving up his left nut. You know what I mean? Right. That's the unconscionable. It's just something, just basically a crazy ass deal. So that's how you can actually challenge a lot of bad deals. Now, I don't know if you can challenge that, use that doctrine to challenge a plea deal. I'm not sure, but maybe I'll look into it, after this cast and find out. But there's always ways of challenging stuff like that, because one of the other videos I did when we were talking about gun possession, basically, in order for that statute, some of those statutes to work in Illinois, is that you have to have had pleaded guilty to a crime, or you had to have been convicted of a crime. Where if you go back and challenge that conviction or that deal, then that the current gun charge doesn't fly. So there's multiple reasons and multiple ways to go back and challenge a deal. I'd go and challenge any deal just on general principle. If you manipulated me into taking some shit that no ordinary person would take, except for the manipulation tactics you use, I'm finna challenge that shit. I'm sorry. I'm finna challenge you.
It's illegal for them to manipulate you. Police officers can lie to you in interrogation, say they got this, they said this, they do, and they don't have none of that. They just want you to be like, yeah, you're right. You know what? I did do that, or I did say that, or you know what I'm saying, and they create a story. So they create a story to issue warrants to get a person incarcerated, because they got to get that warrant signed off by a judge. So they got to put all this bullshit in a story to make it believable, a fiction story, to try to see if they can get some facts out of it.
So let me ask you a question, Roy. Do you think, since you don't believe your lawyer actually did anything, do you think that maybe he was plugged in?
I don't know. He got a nice check.
But you got free. So you got free though. That's what I was thinking about. Yeah, you just gave that.
It wasn't to the extreme of where it was like rebuttal of
Did he file anything?
Or any pressure. They filed motions for like discovery and stuff like that, but he would call me like, well, they want to throw it off. They're gonna reset it. We're gonna work on a deal. This should be done by then. Because he was like, at the point before I had lost custody of my kid, he was like, well, I'm gonna try to work a deal where get you misdemeanor contributing to a minor. It was like, that's a charge where you're saying you gave a minor a cigarette or they had some alcohol or something. So
I ain't none of that shit.
At that point, I was like, because I didn't want to lose custody of my kids. I was like, all right, if I can take that little misdemeanor, I can go on with my life and my kids, everything go back to normal, right? Not
Right.
knowing that's not true, but that's what I'm telling myself. So after they took my kids to New Jersey and gave them custody back to their mom, it was like gloves off.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
Fucked in.
Gloves off, you know what I mean?
They ain't got nothing on you. They done took everything.
Yeah, like them my two babies. I died for them. So hey, what's happening? Let's do this. I don't give a fuck what happened now.
Right.
Go.
When lose you all in.
And that's just how I told my lawyer. So shit, fuck all that.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm tired of this shit.
that's wild.
So
Then my next court date, he told me, was like, hey, they dismissing all charges, going up with all smiles, or whatever. And
so it sounded like he was even try to give you a shitty deal. So
I think we're just at the point of the time where the state either had to, their hand was forced to dismiss because they ran out of probably statute time, or when they had to take the trial. They didn't have a case. They can only prolong it for so long before they have to let you go.
Well, from listening to your story, to me, it just sounded like they didn't have anything to begin with.
Yep.
They did.
They didn't have anything to begin with, so their whole case was based on you taking the deal.
Yep.
And it's like, the first lawyer, they probably had something on her, and they're hoping that, the lawyer is going to sell you out, because that's what a lot of them do. A lot of them are really there. They're just there to get as much money. They want you to drop that retainer, and then they're trying to, get more money after that. But once they see they got you for what they can get you, I mean, that's it. And I think the government, in that case, they realized that they didn't have any hard evidence. So at that point, the only thing they were trying to do was trying to get you to cop out.
I'm gonna tell you what's crazy. Like when the accusation was made, they knew my name. Like I said, I worked in the casino, so I had a license, a state license. So it wasn't like they didn't know where I was or job or anything. Like they could have just came. They came. Like I said, they didn't come question me like 6-7 months later. They didn't like me up to like a year later. And I'm like, damn, like this shit crazy.
Yeah, it's definitely crazy. So
I came home, I was a different person.
This is very interesting to hear your case. To hear you say this, to hear you say this is eye-opening to a lot of people. Like when people question themselves and they know they are innocent, and they in there getting batted over the head, take a plea, and they sitting in jail. When at the end of the day, if they have a public defender, if they just keep saying, look, I want to take this to trial. I want to take this to trial. I want to take this to trial. They can take it to trial. And they might just throw it out just like they did with you. Now, you did time. You was in jail.
I went to jail. It costs the state a lot of money to go to trial.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the reason they didn't go to trial in your case. I think the reason they didn't go to trial in your case is because they never had anything.
Right.
Oh yeah,
that's the reason.
It's a lot to add up to it. They don't have nothing that costs a lot of money to go to trial. It's costing them a lot of money.
You got a civil suit floating? What's up?
Like it's so hard to even find somebody even to represent you, or even want to touch it. You know what I mean?
Let me tell you somebody. I would go down.
They colleagues. You gotta understand. They probably have annual luncheons and get-togethers. So it's a black man going to sue them. Man, I feel like they're gonna come for me. That's why I got in Louisiana, because I felt like, they lost.
They guilty of right now. You was incarcerated all that time. There's all kinds of things, including defamation of character, that the state is guilty of for having you incarcerated that long. Are you kidding me? Like, you gotta be.
I couldn't find no lawyer that wanted to touch it, and I wasn't really that knowledgeable of how to file a civil case myself.
And how long ago did this happen?
January 2020 is when it was dismissed.
Oh,
you know what, dude? Look, so why don't you go ahead and put your email address or your contact information in this podcast or in the comment section, and maybe there could possibly be a lawyer watching that will want to take the case up. But I think all states have sovereign immunity, right? All states have sovereign immunity, which means that they can't be sued. But most states have an exception, and that exception is typically handled in the state's court of claims. So that's probably where you would go to sue your the state of Louisiana, is in the court of claims. I'm not 100% sure, but that's where I would go in Illinois. And things are different from state to state. Maybe you have to go straight to federal court. Uh-oh, he dropped off. Maybe you have to go straight to federal court, but I'm pretty sure there's multiple ways at which you can sue or pursue suing, the state of Louisiana. And I would definitely, here, let me put him back in.
Yeah.
I would definitely be trying to sue the state of Louisiana. I'm sorry. I
feel like they have like victims funds in certain states and stuff like that. Like you're a victim of false accusations. How about that? Definitely look up a civil lawyer. I don't know how much time you got. You probably working and all like that, because I know going through different lawyers and trying to find the right one is a lot of time on your hands. But you might find one or somebody who can shoot you to somebody that will handle your case. You know what I mean? There's different types of civil lawyers out there. So you can actually throw your case at the wrong civil lawyer and they'll tell you, no, there's nothing I can do with it. But that's because it's the wrong civil lawyer. So you got to make sure you ask, like, there's injury lawyers, slip and fall and all like that, accidents, car accidents, so you got to find the one that would be specifically for your type of situation there. Shit. Central Park 5, they probably know where you need to go.
Right.
They got millions. Fuck out of here.
You just need the right lawyer. You could also try to pursue it yourself, but that can be pretty difficult. Not having experience in the legal realm, and they say they give you all these crazy analogies, like saying that representing yourself in court is like performing brain surgery on yourself. And then there's another analogy out there that says a lawyer who represents himself in court has himself a fool for a client, things like that. But in my personal opinion, they come up with those different types of analogies to dissuade people from, dissuade you from seeking justice. And they want you to hire a lawyer and give a lawyer all your money. And like I said, I'm not saying that lawyers aren't useful. I'm not saying that. Lawyers are definitely useful. And these guys, they go to school and they basically study law for years. So those guys are useful. But unfortunately, just like in the legal field, like everything else, there's a lot of play in the system. You have a lot of, people who basically try to take advantage. And I think the legal field is one of those fields where people try to take advantage, right? So if I couldn't find anybody, because, I'm the person I am, shit, I'm going to file that claim my damn self. But I'm not saying that you should try to do it. I advise you to probably get a lawyer, or you could probably find somebody who's knowledgeable about the law to help. You know what I mean?
It's so much harder trying to fight a case on your own, because only reason is because the pride of the judge and the DA, them going to school, putting all that time in, getting a bar license, and you coming in there without a bar license and speaking, better than them and putting the facts on them. Oh, that nigga think he's smart. You think who he think he is? You know what I'm saying? Coming here, and can stand up to her like this and no facts. It become personal. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of
what? You definitely right about that, because hell, you can even be a lawyer, and if you fall out of favor with that society, they will basically treat you the same way. Like I've been on YouTube, there's two black judges, female black judges, that tried to represent themselves in court, and they just got ripped to shreds. And they end up going to jail, and they did everything they could to basically humiliate them. So basically everything that you're saying, I can only imagine coming in as a self litigant or pro se litigant, and you trying to represent yourself, yeah, they gonna look at you like you crazy.
Mm-hmm.
They gonna be like, what I go to school for? You know,
Right.
if this motherfucker just come in court and represent himself.
Now,
And they're gonna try to the terminology they're gonna try to use and stuff like that, and they're gonna say that you're prolonging everything because you're not familiar with the terminology. You have to research everything because it's a whole different language they speak in that court.
Oh
You
yeah.
know those articles and everything like that, and those laws. And if you don't know it, you could be signing yourself away to something that you think is sweet that ain't. You know, it's like almost like a football deal. The number look good, but it ain't that good. You know what I'm
Well,
saying?
I believe in a lot of situations what they try to do. For example, if you go in, your case obviously has merit, and based on the merits alone, you should win. But what they're going to do is that they're going to say that you're not following the rules of the court. You
mm-hmm.
understand me? So they're going to try to disqualify you based on the rules. They're going to say this is not filed properly, but they're not going to say it that way. They're going to say something crazy like failure to state a claim of which relief can be granted. That's how they're gonna dissect your claim and make it look like you don't have a claim, but in actuality you have a claim. But
Right.
as you say, you don't know the rules. You don't
Right.
know the rules, so therefore you can't proceed to the claim. That's how.
That's why it's so important to put stuff on dockets when you speak up when you're in court. If you represent yourself, you know you want to put stuff on dockets so it's on the minutes. So whenever you go back, if you have to appeal or anything like that on a situation where you know they was wrong, you can appeal it. That's why a lot of people I learned, they say they won't take a deal. They'll go the whole distance because they can get their time back. They can appeal certain things and with
Right.
some mistake that they made and get less time. That's what a lot of people do. They get real serious time, like lifers, shit like that.
So Don K hopped on and he figured out the name of one of the ladies that I was talking about. So Tracy Hunter. Tracy Hunter was. How do you highlight someone's comment? Yeah, let me just click that. Yeah. So Tracy Hunter was a judge, I believe in Ohio. Correct me if I'm wrong. She was a judge in Ohio, and she may have done some dirty shit. I'm not sure. So basically, she was like one of the first black judges in Ohio, I believe. I'm not sure. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong if it's not Ohio, but she was a black judge, and they basically did everything they could to keep her from becoming a judge. But she gets in, and she becomes a judge anyway. So at this point, they're watching her to see if she makes any mistakes. And this is my opinion, right? This is my opinion from following the story. You guys can follow the stories on YouTube. So they're watching her to see if she makes any mistakes. And they called her on a couple of things. One of the things they called her on was that she barred the media from coming into the courtroom. And by law, the media had a right to come into the courtroom or something of that nature. And then another thing they called her on was that they called her on helping her brother fight some litigation, and she gave her brother some documents that he wasn't supposed to receive. And because of this, they were able to either charge her with a crime or begin the process of removing her from court. I think it was more or less charging with a crime. And once they charged her with a crime, I mean, it was just basically downhill from there because she couldn't, she no longer could be a judge, and then she had to go to jail. And at that point, it was all about destroying her. So she was a lawyer and she was a judge, and even she couldn't defend herself against the system. So, I mean, it was just crazy.
I think that R. Kelly stuff, he gonna be in there about 3-5 years for it. And it's gonna be some kind of deal, time served type shit.
I don't know, man. It all depends on how it plays out, but I think they're not looking for no 3 to 5 years with R. Kelly. I keep telling people that they don't want to believe me. They trying to give him some astronomical numbers because I do have a video on my channel where I break down the charges or the time that is associated with the charges, and I want to say without remembering all the details of that video, but I think he's either looking at multiple life sentences or something like, 60 to 100 years with a life sentence, right? So it's some pretty serious time. 3 to 5 years. I don't think it's gonna happen. I think somebody said that.
It sounds serious. That's the scare tactic to make the numbers. The numbers are scare tactics. But when I say he gonna do 3 to 5 years, I'm saying he gonna be incarcerated 3 to 5 years. Probably they gonna try to wait him out 3 to 5 years and come up with some kind of little deal where, he come home, but it's gonna be some, extensions to it.
Right.
Probation, shit.
That's the thing is, sure. There's no way a lot of them charges won't stick at all. There's no way. I can't say it. Maybe like 1 or 2 possibly, if that. But I don't think they are. As long as he keep on doing what he's doing, not taking a plea, he should be good. Take that shit to trial. He needs to take that shit to trial.
I wish the best for him, and I just hate that, that one of the taxes they use and they got him in so many states. They try to put so many states involved, so he can't beat them all. That's a tactic that they use.
Minnesota, he ain't even had sex with the Joan. He masturbated in front of her. The fuck?
Oh, is that? You know what? I'm not sure. So what's the full story on Minnesota? I'm glad you brought up Minnesota.
The Minnesota Joan. Apparently, he was in a room with some chick. She's trying to say that he paid her, I guess. Mm-hmm. And she straddled him. She put her legs around him, and she played with herself. He played with himself, and she was of age. Like that's just that's a money grab. That's why he ain't even worrying about that joint. That ain't even a prelim yet. He hasn't even had a prelim in Minnesota. Like because he's been locked up in Illinois this whole time. So by the time they come up with this joint, he was already booked. So
I think,
go ahead.
I think all them chicks there are just smoke screens. They ain't really they ain't no CI or the people that they really trying to, that's just to distract you. These people like ads and all them. Those are distractions because it's.
You know what? Hold on a second. Let me just highlight what you're saying. So when we were talking on the phone last night, you brought it up, and I never thought about this. Roy basically said that Azriel, even though she is actually a part of the case, as everybody knows by now, she's actually one of the alleged victims in the case. Roy is saying that she's a smokescreen, right? And it kind of makes sense. I'll let Roy explain why she's a smokescreen, and then I'll come back and give you my part. Go ahead, Roy. I'm sorry.
When you go through a case like that, there's no contact, so they're gonna keep everything down to a minimum. They don't want nothing exposed. They don't want nothing, because everything that she said is valuable information that for the defense. The prosecutor don't want the defense to have none of that information that they can use to help get a conviction. When she go on there and saying different things, saying one thing one way and one thing another way, it plays in the defense favor. So that can be a star witness that they have or alleged whatever victim that they have that's concrete, that you want to take to the trial, because they can dissect it. And when it's been exposed or been on anything, because now are you gonna contradict the story? You got to go back and relive all that stuff you're saying, and this is gonna line up to what you're saying now. And once you find one lie in there, you're not credible anymore.
And you know what? To me, the concept of Azriel being the smokescreen makes a lot of sense because it works either way for the government. Either she comes out and she tarnishes R. Kelly's image in the public's eye, or she comes out and she basically creates a distraction and everybody is focused on her. The defense is focused on her. Now the defense is coming up with ways to deal with her in court. And then you get to court, they throw her out and they don't even mention her as an actual victim. And all this time, as a defense, you've been focusing on her. That makes a lot of sense to me.
They were in a relationship, so what they going to talk about their relationship? You know, like people go through relationship, and 9 times out of 10, when you leave a relationship, it be some mess behind it. So a lot of that stuff is it's not gonna be
It's submissible.
that shit ain't gonna.
Yeah, no, I'm just. I mean, I was just blown away over the concept of smoking
Right.
rain. Because
Right.
everybody, a lot of people are focusing on. Even myself, like
Yeah.
I did a lot.
Even if she knew about the storage room, why she not getting charged with accessory? Because you already knew about it way prior before that.
What's
So
the
if you had a
storage
storage
room?
room with all these tapes and stuff, and you
Oh, I
knew it
see.
was in there, so if you already knew that way before time, then you that's accessory.
Right.
You're coming accessory to that crime because you knew about it. You just as guilty as that. That's just like in Louisiana. If I kill somebody and you with me, you don't say nothing, you get the same murder charge.
Yeah, that's called what is that called? That's uh,
Conspiracy.
parties or something like that. The law of parties. It has different names in different jurisdictions, but yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. I even have a couple of
If
videos.
you don't come forth and say nothing or participate, or something happened, you don't come forth and say something, they give you that same charge. So
Well,
if you
I,
knew
I
you
think
had all
I think it's
these,
tricky because it's not simply that you know about it, but you were in the commission of it. You don't necessarily have to be in commission of that particular crime. For example, let's say I give you, Roy, a ride to the corner store, right? We're going to the corner store, or you like, yeah, let's go to this corner store and get some beers, right? I drive you to the corner store thinking I'm driving you to the corner store, and then you go in there and then you shoot everybody and you get some beer and you rob them and you come back like nothing happened. They lock us both up. They're going to argue that I was an accessory because I drove you there, even though I actually just drove you there just to the corner store with the understanding we're just going to get some beers. But
Right.
that's what they're going to argue. So I think
they're
if
gonna they're
people
gonna flip it and say it was premeditated that we went to the store to
exactly
rob. So they're gonna turn around to make it seem like you was included in the whole thing.
exactly.
So
But
this
but
is
I,
how
I
they
guess what
do
I'm
it.
saying is like me just knowing, like if I knew you went to the
Yeah.
corner store, I give you my car keys and it's like, yeah, Roy's going to the corner store. Then and you come back and you tell me that you robbed and you killed all those people. I'm not an accessory to that.
But see, with ad situation is different. Gotta think about it. If it's pornographic stuff on there, how did you know it was on there?
Well,
I mean,
she
you had to be there. You had to know it was in there, so you knew. It's different between knowing and not knowing. Like you saying. So if you're gonna take them to a secret storage room where you got all this stuff at, you knew it was something in there
I
that
see
was
what you're saying.
on that.
I'm
So
not
you
sure.
already knew about
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. That's the verdict is out on that because if I know a you got a bunch of kids trapped in your basement, if I know you just got a bunch of kids trapped in your basement, but I ain't got nothing to do there, you just told me. It's like, yeah, Roy told me he got, he got, a bunch of people trapped in the basement, and I don't know nothing about it. I mean, I know about it, but I ain't have anything to do with it. I don't know that I can be like what I can be charged for it. You know what I
it.
mean?
But
Unless
it's
I
different. It's different if you're living with someone. If you're in a
okay,
relationship with someone, and your better half, you damn near know what the fuck going on, what's moving around in your house. You
right,
with it?
right,
Saying like, come on, like if I'm out here and I like menage a trois and I'm with that girl, she know that. You know what I'm saying? Hey, she know what it is. You know what I'm saying? She gonna be down with it or she ain't. You know what
right.
I'm saying? She gonna move around. So you know what I mean? Like 9 times out of 10, when you commit to some a relationship, anything, you commit to the whole thing. You already know how that person moves. It ain't no secret.
Right. Now you make some good points. You make some really good points. So, so all right. So just going back to your situation. So you get close to trial, and then they just throw the entire thing out. Did they apologize, or they make any? Uh, they obviously probably didn't apologize, did they?
Mm-mm,
They just threw it out.
mm-mm.
And
They
at this point, and you know what? I'm gonna see if I can post your email address in here again. So
I try to put it up there, but it's Roy84Jackson@gmail.com.
So
Trying
I
to put it up.
just I just posted Roy's email address. I'm sorry, And if you're a lawyer in the Louisiana area, definitely reach out to Roy. He needs help in a possible civil case against the state of Louisiana, to basically sue them for the false arrest, which basically turned his life upside down. So at this point, I'm pretty much just going to end the live stream. Roy, thanks for coming out. And potentially I like to, do another live stream. Maybe I'll schedule it next time, and we'll get into your issue with your license, and we'll talk about sovereign immunity and a sovereign nation, which should be a pretty interesting conversation, because it's not every day that you get to talk about sovereignty that doesn't involve the United States. So, that's definitely going to be a good conversation. And Keisha, I want to revisit your legal situation, because I think this is the second time that you it kind of slipped out. So I would like to get the full details of what happened and how it happened. So definitely I want to schedule something with you on that. So, look out for schedulings of both of those conversations, with a follow-up with Roy and another conversation with Keisha. And if anybody's watching this or watching this, anybody that watches this live stream or this video, I want to hear from you if you have a crazy situation, a crazy legal situation that's happened in your life. Let's talk about it. So definitely leave your questions and comments below, and we can schedule something to talk about your legal situation, and basically, get your story out there, get you heard.
Hey Keisha, I'm one of your subscribers too. I watch you, so
Oh, let me find out. Oh, I didn't know that.
I'll be low key with it. I don't say too much, you know what I'm saying?
I appreciate you. And then on y'all topic that y'all gonna be doing next about the sovereign, whatever, depending on when y'all do it, my old man's gonna be home next Saturday. So I don't know, we'll probably go away for a couple days. But I'm positive he probably would want to get in on that conversation. I'm positive he would. I guarantee, and he's smart. He's smart with this legal stuff. He had me running numbers, going back and forth, asking requests like, can you file this, file the habeas corpus, file this, file that, to get things on the ball while he
he gonna be the man to talk to then. So you say he's coming back when?
He'd be Saturday, this Saturday coming up.
Next Saturday. Then you guys are going to take a break for what, a week?
No, for like just a couple days. I get it in.
Give her a week.
Yeah, but I think it would be awesome to hear him talk with like you guys that are like plugged in legally. You know what I mean? There's some things I know, but I don't know everything. But he's like really in on it. Like, look, this is what you do. I'd be like, chill. I don't understand.
Well, and he's actually somebody that I want to talk to you, because these are the people that are in the trenches, and typically those are the people who have the most information. I think one of the best things about the internet and being connected is that you can get information that you wouldn't be able to get otherwise, right? So I'm looking at, to me it looks like a best time for us to have this follow-up is probably going to be, for you, Keisha, probably going to be the 11th of July, or possibly the 18th of July. How does that sound?
Whenever. I'll keep you informed. How about that? I'll keep you informed.
We can get email.
I got you.
Yeah, for sure. And because next Saturday is, I'm sorry. Because we obviously don't want to do it on the 4th of July. That's just going to be too much crazy stuff going on. And Roy, I'll schedule another session with you as well, but you can also be included in the sessions with Keisha's old man if you want. So yeah, we'll get all that set up.
All right, then. It'll work.
All right. Okay.
Y'all be blessed, man.
All right. You too. Thanks for watching, everybody. Please like, share, and subscribe. Later.